So now if we flip screens and take a look at ensembles, it looks like a similar list. What we did is we distinguished it a little bit for our way of thinking by capitalizing the names of the groups. In the case of band, we have a very large group here. I think there's like 800 kids in this music program. It's just there's 4 bands. I call them freshman, sophomore, junior, senior band. Doesn't mean they're necessarily tied to a class, but it made it work for us. Notice here's Jessica Riley, and who is the band director, and she's listed over here as the main person for auditions. Well, if with 4 bands, there's likely going to be more than one band director. You put whoever you want as the director over the bucket of auditions. It's no big deal. It doesn't affect anything. It just put the lead director there, or whoever might get designated. It just puts a name on it. But all directors will pull from the same audition bucket to create their ensembles, right? That's not just for Jessica. She just happens to be listed, again, on the audition side. Very quickly, a max number in the case of an ensemble here is how many students you expect to see in there when it is full. This is often dictated by instrumentation, balance, blend, those types of things. If you're fortunate to be selective in that regard, you may have a second group or a third group. Maybe it's a little larger. A developmental group will certainly be different, but your top wind ensemble, let's say, your top orchestra, your top mixed choir, you'll have some ideal numbers there. I'd put that number in there. You'll see how it's used later. A target number is something different. A target number has to do with the standard for a score. In this case, if you are judging all your kids by what grade in school they're in, you don't need to fill anything in for a target number. It defaults to their year in school. But if you have ensemble groupings where you have a mixture of all classes in all the various groups, then you want to set a target number based on the standard for that group. And to get into your top choir, maybe a 7. To get into the second group, maybe a 6, right? Or the top wind ensemble, top orchestra. So you either use a grade-based system, or you use an ensemble-based system where you put a number that's in the system that is the barrier to get into that system. And then going forward, that is determined to be an A, anything at that point level or higher. If you have a 7.0 and they get a 7.25, they're in the A range. And then it's calculated in anything that falls short. That's how the grading process works. Those are 2 different things. Max has to do with the number of students you'd like to see in there as a balanced ensemble, and target number is grade related, which you never fill out if you're grading by year in school. And if you take a look then at the audition list, remember these lists look very similar to that. These are the buckets, right? All the buckets of the various voices. A max number is going to be the number of kids that you have auditioning, and that will be calculated. There's no really need to fill that out because the system calculates that based on what kids you put into the bucket. The target number at this point would never be used if you're just trying to audition all the kids and put them in ensemble. There is an opportunity or a time when you might want to use the audition bucket, the audition groups, to do special auditions for things like, maybe you're a madrigal group, to get into that, to be in the pit orchestra, a brass ensemble that's going on tour, that kind of thing. And so it also might be used as a pre-audition to see who might qualify to audition for your district, your region, or state type of thing, depending on what you have in your state. So there are certain subgroups, right, within our programs where we want kids audition to get into them, right? And you're not placing them as a result into an ensemble that is graded. So you just use this as a tool to audition those special situations. And in that case, you throw a target number into the system, call it whatever you want, 10, 8, and then that is the number that separates people who would be qualified based on your criteria to perform the literature that is very selective in that particular case with the skills that kids need. All right?